Welcome to Lawyers Who Care, the video show podcast that highlights attorneys who go above and beyond for their clients. And on each episode, we will meet a new lawyer and they will share stories of when they went above and beyond legal counsel for the benefit of their client. My name is Andrew Samalin. I'm the principal of Samalin Wealth, a nationally recognized wealth management firm for lawyers, law firms, and their clients. And let's applaud lawyers who care and learn from them. Today, my guest is Stephen Diamond. He is an attorney with Stenger, Diamond, and Glass, and he focuses on trust and estate planning, elder law, and asset protection in Dutchess County, New York. Welcome, Stephen.
Andrew, thanks for having me this afternoon.
My pleasure. So, Stephen, tell us how you became a lawyer. What drove you to the profession?
Well, my background's a little more interesting than others. I graduated college and started working in retail. I was the Al Bundy, working for Tom McCann, selling shoes. And that went on for a little while, but it wasn't totally for me. And during college, I was working with a trucking company. So I left the shoe company, went back to the trucking company, and I was working in the trucking company. And long before, you probably remember, about 1980, we had a recession. And our work dried up, and I needed something to do, so I applied to law school. And I actually went.
Hold on, then the next line is, and I actually graduated.
Well, I did, but in between, there was a slight hiccup.
Okay.
Once I got to law school, I was on the civil service exam for firemen, because I had been a volunteer fireman for a number of years.
Got it.
Which, by the way, played into a phenomenal editorial on my application why I wanted to become a lawyer, because I'm so used to helping people in the fire service. It was perfect. Needless to say, they took me to law school, and they did not call me for my fireman's job because they knew I was in law school and figured I wouldn't want it. And when I came back from law school after the first year, I found out I could either continue law school and help people, or I could go back to the firefighting profession and help people. And then I figured helping people in the law was probably a beneficial way to go to help people other than their emergency. And hopefully with proper planning, we can avoid some of those emergencies so we wouldn't have to put out their estate fires when the time came around.
By the way, that's a great dovetail. That a superb juxtaposition between the two. Well played. Stephen, tell us about the story about where you went above and beyond on behalf of your clients.
Well, there's a couple stories I'd like to tell. I had an older woman client. Her husband died, and I visited her at her house because she had trouble getting around. And I'm talking to her, and her light is out in the kitchen, and she pulls her chair up to stand on the chair to change her light bulb. She couldn't walk, but she was going to change her light bulb. So from that day on, anytime she needed a light bulb change, she called me. And I'm convinced to this day, God rest her soul, that she would intentionally break them to get the company. But, that's the kind of thing you just got to do to go out of the way for clients.
That's funny.
But another situation, I get contacted by a financial planner who had a couple. The couple was relatively well off, and they needed estate planning. He was getting older. He was getting a little less firm, and she was spry as any 80-year-old could be. And so we did some elder law planning. We made sure he got the proper planning done. And actually, we got him into some long-term care insurance. Even though it was expensive at that age, we figured he would need that. And that's the first part of the story, is that when he did need it, he had the insurance. And the wife was so appreciative that we had talked her into spending those premium dollars to get that insurance. But what makes this family unique is it's a second marriage. She had 3 children from a prior marriage. He had 2 children from a prior marriage, and they together had 2 children. It's sort of like the old movie Yours, Mine, and Ours. And whereas on TV, that may be a great movie, in estate planning, estate administration, and beneficiaries jockeying for position, it's not such a great move. And
wait, so Stephen, how many children again?
They're altogether 7 children.
So, okay.
She had 3, he had 2, and they had 2.
Mm-hmm.
And ironically, the 2 they had together are the ones that fought the most. But what happened in that particular case is the financial planner suggested that they pick a neutral trustee and in this case, they asked me to serve as that trustee, so that when they pass, there's somebody who's going to be there to help them that, as we like to say, doesn't have a dog in the fight. So we're just there as a neutral person to make things work. Well, ironically, the day before they're signing their documents, in which are appointing me as their trustee upon their deaths or during their lives if they need help, there's another attorney in our region with the same name, different middle initials, had a case in which the judge very harshly denounced his demeanor and behavior in the case. My clients picked that up in the newspaper the night before, that Stephen Diamond didn't seem to appear so well, and they got very nervous. And especially when they called me and I told them I had no idea what they were talking about, at which point they probably called me a lying lawyer about 17 times in 2 minutes. And then I convinced them I really didn't, and then I realized what had happened. Well, caveat at that story is they signed the documents. Second caveat at that story is upon appeal, the trial level judge was overturned, and it turns out my namesake, the other Stephen Diamond, had done nothing wrong. So we all came through it in flying colors. But time goes on, the husband passes away, the wife passes away, and we have different trusts for different children for various reasons. And so there I am trying to referee and maintain the ship from sinking, with pot shots and arguments from each side, 2 or 3 claiming the other one took advantage of their parents and their mother. And some of those meetings I sat through where they claimed, you do more for my brother than for me. And then she would say, well, I did send you to law school. So, from each of their positions, they were right. From the innocent person from the outside, we saw it happen. But the good news is we got everything done. They had a very valuable piece of property. I was able to get a very high rent for the property through some constructive negotiating and taking advantage of facts that I may have exaggerated on to increase the rent. So we got good rents, paid for the property, the family made more money, and we ended up without fighting.
So 7 kids, you were able to, it sounds to me like you're almost herding, a room full of cats.
Well, the funny thing is as I always like to say, that a person's perception is of their own reality. And so they each had a position that they believed was correct, sure. And they weren't wrong, but they weren't right. And part of it's negotiating, part of it's the salesmanship, and part of it's just having to be stern. But yeah, it was, because they each had the same thing in mind as their own interest. But when there's 7 of them, it didn't help all 7.
That's right. So just to remind everyone, today my special guest is Stephen Diamond. He's an attorney with Stenger, Diamond & Glass. He focuses on trust and estate planning, elder law, and asset protection in Dutchess County, New York. Stephen, so that people reach out to the right Stephen Diamond, not that there's a wrong Stephen Diamond, but so that they talk to our guest today. What's your phone number? Can you give it twice?
Sure. My phone number is 845-298-2000. That's 845-298-2000. You can find us on the web at sdglaw.com. But most important, my middle initial is E, and the others is CF. And that's how the court used to refer to us in court when we were on the same case, not by our first or last names, but by our middle initials.
That's
so remember, Stephen E for Excellence Diamond.
Perfect. So, Stephen, thank you so much for joining us. Everyone, this has been the Lawyers Who Care podcast, which is a video show podcast that highlights attorneys who go above and beyond for their clients. Again, my name is Andrew Samalin, principal of Samalin Wealth. And if you're an attorney or one that might be appropriate for this, please feel free to reach out to us at info@samalinwealth.com. That's info@samalinwealth. Again, Stephen Diamond, thank you so much for joining us today.
Andrew, thank you for having me.
Great.